Okay, and good evening to you all. Welcome to RFL F1. And this week we are going into round 8 of Singapore after, I'd say, a very excellent last Saturday around Portimao in Portugal. A good few battles out there. It's going to be a bit of a tougher test for the drivers around this street. So we'll see what happens. Who has got the ability to master this circuit? A very, very difficult one with a lot of downforce, but also needing the straight line speed to overtake your opponents. And it looks like, I don't know if it's raining or if the track is wet, but it looks like it's raining as I will get the tyres up. It is dry, but the clouds do seem very dark, so there might be a chance of rain coming along, but only time will tell, as it will be a wet race as it's just been confirmed, so there will be rain for the race. So this is going to be a very interesting situation for the drivers on what setup they put on. Do they put on a dry setup or do they put on a wet setup? As we have I want to say I was near the back. I want to say that was like a Alfa Romeo. Yes, it was. And there's JD going out. And you can see the track looks wet. It looks really wet there through when JD came out. But it looks like it's dried up a little bit now for him. So he just weaves tyres. Going around the first sector on his outlap. Two people, or two drivers, going on the mediums as of so far, which is Kent, and we got Chronic Reefer, who's a debutant here to RFL, so congratulations on making your debut, Chronic. Hope you have a good race. As always, keep it clean and always just have fun. So a few now coming out. Finns and Kent will be following suit. We just see JD just going around Marina Bay Circuit then. Oh, and he clips the wall there. And I'll just see if he's got any damage. He clipped that wall there, and that did not sound good at all. I've got a good camera angle as of right now. Yes, I do, but it seems like his end plate is still on, so he might get away with it. But that was scary. That was very scary for the Alfa Romeo. Yellow flags in sector 1, and I think that was a Mercedes. But we'll turn our attention to JD as he will begin his first flying lap, the first flying lap around Singapore for RFL. So there will be a bit of traffic coming up for him, but as he goes underway then on his first lap, so you got a bit of DRS then to start off with, heading for braking zone turn 1, usually down to 4th or 3rd gear. Now it's a little bit windy, make sure you get it, the apex is spot on like he did right there. Into this, use as much as the track as you can, try and plug back here, but doesn't quite get the exit as close to the wall to have optimal speed. Another bit of DRS heading into another late braking. So not looking too bad for JD. This is where it's going to get a little bit tricky now. This is where you're going to need your cornering speed, your downforce as well to get this absolutely spot on. So a little bit of a long left hander, get that nailed, and he goes wide through there. He goes really wide, but gets it very cleanly. Another tricky bit through the hairpin, another DRS zone for JD. As just going the different mode, and it's a 168, so keeping it nice and gets a very good exit there at the end of sector 2. Again, just another tricky bit. Nail the corners around under the tunnel. Yellow flags in sector 3. I think that's is that Williams off by the looks of it? I think it is. I think that's Skull off as JD Van comes across the line and he takes a 1:47. Next then, it will be, I think it was a Haas, wasn't it, of Finn's. Yeah, Finn's is next, or was that Kent next maybe? Yep, Kent is next on the medium tyres. There's again a bit of improvements, and Fresh has left the session. That's not what you needed, as Kent will do a 1:45.5. It's about 5 seconds away from JD, but then Finn's comes across 3 seconds faster with a 1:37.4, which is fantastic, as we see Chronic on board then coming around the hairpin. We'll jump back with him later. Dan is the next to come across. A contender for the championship is Dan. There's a lot of people that have a good, a good contention. Dan then goes P2. It was about 8 tenths slower. The Mercedes of Kirby, was that Kirby coming across? Yeah, it does 1:38.7. There's an Aston Martin, I think that was Aiden. Aiden comes through with a 1:37.3. That puts him top then of qualifying. A good contender for the championship. Now Chronic through, who goes P6 with a 1:44.1. Next was Vapid with a 1:38.4. Aiden's teammate, is it Aiden's teammate coming through next? Or is that, am I colourblind? That's an Alpha, no, AlphaTauri, yeah, of Jinx. I think starting his first lap. Waving Skull invalidates and heads to the pits. I think there's Tom Gorian who invalidates, who's going to start again. Yes, he is. I think so. Sambo next. It's not looking fantastic. He might have had a moment somewhere. It was a 1:34.9. The McLaren of Fresh pits. Yeah, Kent also pits. We'll see if anyone's on a proper flyer. I think Sambo isn't. I think Finn's is going to pit. Yep, that's right. There is a Ferrari coming next actually, and I think that was Scott W who's on an outlap. Chronic, it must be on an in lap. That leaves Kirby as well. Who would be on a flyer? So Jinx, no, he's invalidated. So next it is not Tom Gorian because he has invalidated also. Who is on a lap? Come on, who's on a lap then? It doesn't seem like anyone is. Aiden, oh, is that a moment? Aiden's had a moment. He spun at the final corner. Normal Jinx will box this lap. As we got 10 minutes to go of quali. I think Chronic is going to go for another lap. And he is, so we'll stick on board then with Chronic, trying to improve on his lap time on the mediums, try and get as much wear out of them. He takes the exit very nicely there through that last corner. The previous one he was just on, as he's nearly half a second up on his lap time. So looking very, very promising for the debutant in the Red Bull. As we'll see what his pace is like if he can improve actually enough to see if he can be at the top potentially. And it'd be nice to have some good competition for a lot of the drivers in RFL, as we got a few already, some for the championship. But what Chronic will do, we shall see. as he is already a second up on his lap. So he's looking like he's going to be in the 1:39s, which is, I would say, a very good lap time considering he's on the slower compound. But we'll see if he can finish this lap then. And he is flying on those mediums. Going around the corners, there goes a little bit wide just through there, but he takes it very nicely, pushing that Red Bull. Whoa, he was so close to the wall there. That was very close, but he's nailed it very nicely, and he goes P7, and he improves by a second and a half, which is an absolutely fantastic lap time on the mediums. It might not be one of the fastest times, but fair dues to the lad. That is excellent. Okay, next then we have, so Scott W has invalidated. We got Finn's, who will be starting his lap time. Checo might be on a lap, I think. And he is. Checo's on a lap then. On the soft runners. And we'll see where he can put his AlphaTauri, and it will only be P8 of a 140 dead. He's probably not as satisfied as he's want to be. JD, I think, is just on his lap. I think JJ is started his lap. I think was it Tom Gorian going on a lap? We got, I think it was Vapid. I think Vapid starting his lap. So I'm just trying to find out who is on a proper lap here. See if a Red Bull is. I think Dan is going to start his line lap. Chronic has just done one. I think JJ's had a moment. Oh, and he gets very close there to the McLaren, so Ghostin was off, which is very good to see. Tom Gorian is starting his lap. And we got, I think, Dan then. I think Dan is going to be one of the first to come across, but we'll try and go back on board with him later. Sambo is on an in lap, so where's Finn's actually? Finn's was pretty close, wasn't he? So he was a 10th up through sector 2, and it would be an upper pole. Yellow flags. I think that was a Red Bull of Chronic coming into the pit lane, which is correct. So Finn's then is only enough for P2. Still improves, but not enough to take Aiden off pole position. As we got, I think JJ's going to pit. Yes, he is. Fresh has had a moment at the last corner, which is pretty disappointing, as Ken comes through to take P10 for 1:43.4. Next is, I think, is JD. Yes, he goes 2/10 quicker than his lap time. Now they're coming in as Angelissimo starts his lap. We got Vapid coming across to take P3 with a 1:37.5. Dan is coming across 2 times quicker. I'm going to see if Aiden's on a lap. Aiden goes quicker with a 1:37 dead. Dan then coming across, and he only goes with a 1:37.7. And that is it's promising for Aiden. I'll tell you that. Who's nearly, over 3 times quicker. And I think it was Skull. Did Skull come across, or was it Check? So Tom Gorian, yeah, that's it. As he goes P5 with a 1:37.7. So looking like the most common times is in between the 1:37.5 and a 1:37.7. As we got the outsiders then of Kirby, who is in the 1:38, in the 1:38s, and so on. And then you got Finns and Aiden, who just rocking it through Singapore in the low 37s. I was just going to see if anyone is still going to be on a lap. I don't think so as of yet, but I know Angelissimo was actually on a lap. So he always leaves it late, and Fresh has left the session again. So he must be having issues. As Angelissimo, who could be a dark horse for some races, and he goes, it's only P7 with a 1:38.2. We're going to see if anyone else is coming through, but I don't think so. It doesn't look like it as everyone boxes. So there's just under 4 minutes left. As JJ and Jinx are the only drivers still to complete a lap, so they better make sure they do get a lap in. And if you're new here to RFL, welcome along. If you would give us a follow, and that would be much appreciated. If you want to get involved, get racing, you know, I'm sure we can help you out and get you in the league. Going back on board then with some of the guys. I think Chronic is starting his lap actually, or is it? No, he's it's just glitched out again for me. I can see if Sambo is. Nope, Sambo's not on a lap. So who will be for first? So Chronic is going to be first. As he could be a good contender, possibly for the upper midfield, unless he can give a few surprises and he invalidates straight away, which is not what he needed with about 2.5 minutes to go. So he's going to have to save the tyre wear, save the ERS, but he's still going for it, I think. Oh, and he hits, oh, did he hit the wall there? So he needs to slow down. He needs to slow down because he has invalidated, and that's not what he needed. JJ comes across, yeah, so he's going to be on his first flying lap of the session, possibly his only flying lap of the session. Sambo's retired from the session, so it must be in the pit lane. Okay, as JJ comes through then, rounding up to the third sector, as we've got 1 minute left, as just got to take it nice and easy through there, which he does really good, and he goes through to the final corner on a flyer, and it goes P5, which is a very good lap. And again, another 1:37.7. So that's looking like the lap time to be. As someone just came through, was it Jinx? Yeah, Jinx does a 1:37.1, and that is a very good lap. Kent then, so Kent and Fresh then, the McLaren's down in P16-17. We've been probably one of the most consistent teams as so far in terms of getting points. And JD is 2 times up on his lap time. I'm going to see if Chronic is coming through. No, so he goes and pits, so that's quality all over for him. I think his Finn's on a lap. Finn's is starting his flyer. So that's it then. So I'm going to see if anyone is on a lap. Kent is on a lap, so he's 6 times up through the lap. And he just needs to nail these last few corners now in order to get a good position for the race, for the sprint. Yellow flags in sector 2, I don't know who that is. I think that's a Alpha Tower, I don't know. But going on board then with Kent, and he does need to put a good lap in. A very good lap, and he's coming through the final corner now, and it'll only be P15 for the Papaya driver. Going on board with JD, who is a 10th down now. He was a 10th up at the time being. Aiden still improving by 2 tenths, which is looking very promising for Aiden. Where can Aiden put Or wait, can he get into the 136s? Yes, he does. With a 136.8. So that is very, very good. And looking like the odds-on favourite. Has someone had a spin? I don't know. But Scott W invalidates, which is not what he needed. Finns is 2 tenths up. And he's looking like he could take P2 from Jinx unless he can do more. Tom Gorian's retired from the session. I don't know if that was just him having a spin there. But anyway, Finns comes across. Oh, it's so close. It's only 2 tenths away from Aiden. A 157 dead. So that was very, very good. But just not quite good enough to beat Aiden. Oh, goodness me. Anyway, so Aiden tops it. The only person in the 136s. Finns then behind by 2.5 times. Jinx in P3. Dan will take P4. Vapid in P5. Scott W in P6. JJ P7. Tom Gorian in P8. Kirby in P9. And Angelismo in P10. But it's funny because you see a lot of the guys, the only gap is only like half a second between Dan and Tom Gorian. So it's going to look like a good battle between P4 and P9. But we'll see if that can follow up in the race. As it is raining in Singapore. So I wonder if people have gone. I wonder if Aiden's gone for a dry setup. I wonder if some people have gone for the dry setup, and I wonder if some people have gone for the wet. I'd wonder, you know, I'd wonder, but obviously it's going to look like full wet as it is. We'll just see what happens then. See what everyone's setups are going to look like if people are going to struggle at the start, but we'll wait and see. Okay, as the timer goes off, and I don't know if it is a formation lap on a 5-lapper, but we'll wait and see. So 5 red lights then for a wet Singapore Grand Prix in the sprint, and it is go, 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 and Aiden gets a tentative start. I think Finns has got a good jump on him. We're going to see, yeah, Finns is into P1 already, and Aiden's had an awful start. Jinx has jumped into P2, but Aiden's going to fight him back. He's going to force him wide. There's a little bit of contact between Jinx and Aiden. Rapid trying to get on this as well, and there's a little bit of contact, more contact happening. It's all scrappy here through Singapore. As I just get everything sorted, I'm just going to turn this off. So here comes the Mercedes van of Vapid on Jinx to take P3, going round the inside. Jinx goes off as a Ferrari goes wide then as well. As Vapid takes the position, and Aiden has a little bit of a scrappy moment. So he's struggling a little bit through Singapore, but the Haas then of Fins takes it very nicely. Yellow flag to sector 1, even though there's no one there. Sambo and Kent, I don't know if they've had a moment near the start, but we'll find out anyway. But Fins and Fresh left the session again, so we'll try and get him in as soon as possible. I'll just try and find him now. Yeah, there he is. Oh, that's unfortunate for the guy. But yeah, Fins has got an impeccable start. 2.5, it's going up, 2.5 seconds. 2.8 seconds as JJ and Angelismo have a little battle for P8. This is looking a very scrappy race as of the first lap, but Angelismo gets P8 from JJ. It's all looking very tight through the first lap. But as of right now, Aiden is just losing time to Fins. Fins has just absolutely smashed it through the first lap as Scott W trying to make a move on Dan first P5, but he's just not quite close enough as Jinx is still on the back of Vapid Q. We've got a really good start actually to Vapid. JJ in the pits, who must have had a nose change. Yep, that is correct. And that will definitely ruin his race after. And we got Kirby as well looking on JD, this P11, so he didn't get the greatest of starts to Kirby. I think he dropped a few positions. Chronic in P10 is still in the points, I think, for a sprint. I'm not too sure, as yellow flags, and I think that's Kent off in sector 1. So it's all hard. It's all looking difficult for the drivers in this race as yellow flags again. I think that was Skull who's gone off in just around just by the straights and all. So going to go back on board with Scott W. This is for against Dan, but still not quite close enough, as our gap between Fins and Aiden has gone up to 5.7 seconds. And that is really, really dampened hopes. And Skull's retired from the session, so I don't know what's exactly happened. If he's just locked up and hit the wall. But that's not good news for Skull then. Looking down, we've got Chronic having a little battle with Checo. So very close as Fins takes a 156.2, and that gap has gone up. It's going up and up and up. But Chronic is really close now. Chronic's really close, but he's just not quite close enough to get a move on. F1 Checo. So we'll go back to him later if we can. And Jinx is still on the back of Vapid. Dan's joined the frame as well as Scott W. Tom Gorian as well in there. Angelismo, who was very close to getting in there as well. So this is a little train forming as is more yellow flags. I think that was Sambo, was it? Was it JD or Kirby? Is JD and Kirby had a moment? I'm going to see now. So, yeah, JD's had a moment. Didn't see what exactly happened, but that was pretty... It's not what JD wanted, no, absolutely not. But you can see how close everyone is to Aiden, and they're just trying to make a move. So I think what it looks like is like Aiden has potentially gone for a dry setup for the quali, but not for the race, which has really dampened him. As you can see a line of drivers all the way down to P8, I think that is. Yeah, P8. Wanting to try and make a move on. Oh, and someone's had a hit. Someone's had a hit. I think that was Jinx going on the back of Vapid. So it doesn't look like Jinx has got any damage. I'm sure he'll be fine for the end of the race, but any more like that, yeah, that's going to cost him dearly. But not what he wanted. Oh, you can see how close Vapid is to the gearbox of Aiden, and this is really weakening Aiden, who is just trying to survive, and Spins does another fastest lap. That gap is up to 10 seconds now. That is something. Normal Jinx trying to potentially get P3 from Vapid, but doesn't look like it, no. But, oh god, look at that train of drivers. That is very, very... If you're Aiden, you gotta be thinking, oh my god, what is happening? But on the straight we go, and still, it's so hard to get a move without the DRS, as Angelissimo looks to try and make a move on Tom Goya, but it just isn't quite close enough. There's a little bit of battles between JJ and Kent, I believe, as Kirby and JD and Kirby have had a little bit of a moment as Fresh is disconnected, and Vapid's had a moment, Vapid spun, Vapid's had a moment and he's hit the wall, and he's going to have a nose change, and he hits the wall again. Luckily he doesn't DNF, so I don't know what happened, if he's been hit in the back or if it's just a driver error. Just missed that, that's gone horribly wrong for a contender in the Drivers' Championship of RFL, and by the looks of it, if you can make it to the pits, who is just crawling to the pit lane, he's only going to get to the end of the second sector, and this could put him last place, or possibly P16, and that's not what Vapid needed. Dan now takes P3, and we'll see if Dan can make a move on Aiden, as Fins is just crawling away. 13 seconds. There's a yellow flag sector 2. I don't know if that was the McLaren, but you can see how much this has hit the silver arrow, but I don't think anything's happened as we go on the final lap of the race, and Dan is trying to get that P2 from Aiden. You can see how close he is. Oh my god, Aiden nearly has a moment there, and you can see just how close they are all together. Just go on board then with Dan, but Aiden gets a decent access, so I think he'll be safe now. Sambo and JJ have about P12. I think Vapid is staying out, which is probably the wisest move he'll do. But I think Crash is going to gain, but I don't know. But yeah, it looks like he's struggling a bit, Aiden. Maybe an incorrect setup, as JJ gets a time penalty for the track limits. And so Finn's again with a purple through sector 2 as he goes through final sector before he hits the wall there. But Finn's been with a fantastic performance in the sprint race. He's just absolutely dominated this, and if he kept that in the race, God knows where he would finish. Probably finish a minute ahead of some of the drivers, but he comes through to take the checkered flag as Fins takes the sprint and the fastest lap of the race. Aiden then still holding on to P2 with a lot of drivers trying to right behind him as he's going to take this final corner. He's probably going to take it. As he does, P2 for him. Dan will take P3, Scott WP4, Tom Goyan in P5, Angelissimo in P6. Sorry of it, as Jinx P7, Chaco in P8, Vapid holds on for P9. Chronic, nearly close to Vapid, will take P10. Fresh in P11, JJ will come across to take P12. Yellow flags on, I think that was JJ again. Sambo then across for P13. Kirby following behind in P14, who goes really wide. JJ, who struggled a bit around here in P15. And then Kent will be in P16. As Jinx is looking like one of the possibilities why Vapid had the moments which caused him to have his front wing damaged. Yeah, there's a lot of incidents that occurred, a lot of spins, but again, a very hard track. This is what people have got to remember. Not an easy track to go around. So the final event for Singapore, the sprint. So Finns will take P1, Aiden in P2, Dan in P3, Scott W taking P4, Tom Goyen P5, Angelismo up into P6, Jinx in P7, Chaco P8, Vapid Coot after having the crash will take P9, Chronic will finish the top 10, as we've got Fresh, JJ, Sambo, Kirby, JD, Kent and Skull following the order. And I think, yeah, it was good performances from some Finns especially. I think for the sprint he would be definitely driver of the day. Yeah, definitely give it to Finns after he absolutely he just did the opposition really well. But we follow it on into the race. And it's gonna be an excellent race by the looks of it. But the safety car chance is very high, and this could play very importantly into some drivers' tactics. All right. Okay, apologies guys, and I've just come back now, and we'll go on to Australia then, so on the other side of the planet and the upside down world. We've got Max Verstappen on pole, and with George Russell and Lewis Hamilton behind in P2 and P3, so looking very strong for the Silver Arrows. But we'll see what they're capable of in the race if they can make the jump on the Red Bull. One to look out for actually when I did see was Alex Albon, the Williams, and I think it was P8 for the Williams driver. So it was lucky. Yeah, that's a very, very good result for the Williams team. Sergio Perez not having a good moment in quali, who beached it. Yeah, Mercedes were very good. I think if they were to win, I think Max would need a problem with either any problem of a car. In all fairness, I think the Red Bull is just too powerful, really. I think I said it a few weeks ago. I credit Red Bull. Like, I'm not a fan of Red Bull, but I think I credit them for how they've designed the car really well. And I saw something with how there's a quote 3 DRS systems on that car. So obviously like the rear wing, and then with the chassis and aerodynamics of a car, which makes them have so much good straight line speed, but also good downforce. And I think that's what makes them brilliant. Not that I don't really support, I don't support them, but I think the way they've designed the car is absolutely phenomenal. But only we'll see if they can do something. I think they could have something to contend for Mercedes. See if maybe they've pulled a blinder to say, the designs weren't meant to be coming in 6-7 races, but they may have had it, a surprise attack. Okay, and we start for Singapore. Some predictions for the Grand Prix then. So some want it dry, some want it wet, and I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll find out, and we'll see if the drivers are going to be happy or not. And it is dry. It is dry for now. There's 5 minutes then for the drivers to get the stuff sorted. So I'll be back in a few minutes, and I'll be back before the race. Okay, as I'm back and we just get ready for the green light for the drivers to go, and we'll see what will happen. Through this race, and we'll see, does it rain? Will it rain? That is the big question. How many safety cars could happen? How many virtuals? How many full course safety cars? As we should get a formation lap. And here we go. For the formation lap then, and we are underway. So a mixture then, some going for the hard, some going for the mediums. As Finns has exceeded track limits on a formation lap somehow, and he's just flown away like he did in that little sprint, but you know, if he slows the pack down enough, then he will be fine. And you can see Finn's just like a clock, going left and right. Oh, that is funny. That is funny to watch. It might be my internet or that is Finn's, I don't know. So yeah. I thought what would be a good idea for this is, if you're one of the back midfields, maybe go on the softs and all. But also it'd be a very gutsy idea, and then if a safety car did come out, you could try a medium. Which, if obviously a safety car or VSC came out, you could from soft to medium, and then you'd be right back with a pack on a fresher compound. But we'll wait and see what people do with their strategies if safety cars will interrupt them. I think the wisest move you could be on, I would have to say, it's on the mediums. It's probably the safest option to go for. Because if something happens and you're in that pit, like if you're a hard runner, you're not in that pit window, and a safety car comes out like 7 laps before, for example, you could be absolutely doomed. And you could be like a sitting duck. But for hards, you know, obviously they can go long. I think if obviously a safety car, if no safety cars come out, you know, you've got a good chance of winning the race. But as people get lined up, as an Aiden's been disqualified, so that is not good for the Aston Martin driver, who will have to work extremely hard then. Looks like Finn's got a really good position on the grid. Fresh also gets disqualified. JJ's lap for session, that is not what you needed. And Chronic's disqualified, so I'll have to try and get JJ in as soon as possible. But 5 red lights then, as that will go. We'll just stick to this, sorry, and I'll get to the top already. And it's lights out and away we go in Singapore. Really good start. Wait, is Aiden got a really good start? Aiden gets a really good start into turn 1 then, as he takes the lead of Singapore. And Finns and Scott W having a little battle with Jake, as I did see some debris, I believe. Not too sure who was from though. Rash and JJ have a little fight between P11 and P12 as JJ O'Kearney takes P11 out. So not the start our Finns wanted, but Aiden getting on the fresher tyre takes the lead of Singapore. Dan following behind. Jake Spence on the inside of Dan. Oh, and it gets so tight. Oh, and they get so close together. Yellow flags. I think Chronic's on a moment somewhere. Oh, and there's even more battles going on, and Scott W is now ahead of Dan. So Dan now down in P5. Aiden, who got a fantastic start. Bear in mind he got disqualified for not following in, going into his into his box correctly. gets an excellent start. Now Jinx is going to be on the back of Fins in a few moments' time. Bit of a lock-up, going to lock down, and Angelismo has a little battle with Tom Corian. Tom Corian hanging it around the outside. Oh, he gets so close to two drivers, but keep it very respectful between one another as Checo trying to get onto this. JJ has now returned back to the session. Vapid Q and KB up into P9 and P10. Fresh had a bit of a disconnection. JJ is now back in. JD of hard still trying to make a move. Sambo, Chronic did not get the greatest of starts or Skull and Kent still at the back of the pack, but Aiden 2.5 seconds is the gap between Aiden and Fins. Jinx now within 4/10 of Fins. We get a purple first sector. Scott W trying to hold on, but is falling away ever so slightly. Dan didn't get a good start as well. Tom Corian as well, holding on very closely to Dan. Angelismo as well. There's not much fight going on. Vapid Cute, who's closing in on Checo. That'll be for P8. But there's, you can see this field spread now happening. Everyone falling out of that 1 second, and the yellow flags in sector 2. And I think that is JD. JD is round, and that is a virtual safety car. So the first one of the day of the race, and it is only a virtual safety car. So I wonder if anyone, it's probably too early, but would anyone pit right now? Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Probably answers my own question there, but you never know, you can surprise yourself every now and then. We'll see what everyone does. So I think JD's lost his front wing, I think. Yeah, the green flags are out and DRS has been enabled. So pretty in and out to get all of the debris off and going, and we can see Jinx right on the back of Fins, who is well outside of DRS's. Fins on Aiden, and that's going to give a good opportunity for Jinx to try and make a move. So we'll go on board then with Jinx, who by the looks of it is just a bit too far behind. Is Chronic gets the first time penalty for exceeding the track limits. And so JD does pit as well, and you probably by his race is most likely done. We'll probably have to go for hard, the medium tyre. Apologies, which it does. Yeah, not much to say apart from people are going to be struggling for traction because there are a lot of bends and you know, a lot of corners that are very slow, so you need really good exits if you want to try and overtake one of the other drivers. Well, we'll just look on board then with Vapid, who's on about half a second away from Checo. Two different compounds of strategies. We've got Kirby and Fresh following suit, and I think JJ was just in there as well. Zeta takes the fastest lap of the race. He was about 3 seconds away now from Fins, but Vapid Coot, who was about half a second now up to 6/10, but not quite close enough to make a move. Kirby as well, trying to hold on, who is falling out of DRS range. That is not good for Vapid's teammate. As Fresh is going to try and get in on this, but I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. Chronic as well having a battle with Skull. We'll see with what the Red Bull driver can do, but again I think it's just being too far away. If you're about half a second away, I don't think you're quite close enough, unless you have a little mistake, as Vapid's trying ever so hard to get P8. from Checo. Apologies. Oh. And you can see that field spread forming. You know, it does. The top eight is all outside of DRS, but Jinx is coming back. Vapid's still trying to make a move, and it's not good for Vapid actually, because he is a contender for the Drivers' Championship, and he needs to get these overtakes done quickly as possible. But safety cars can happen. JJ has left the session again. I'll try and get a pin again. And there we are. And so again, Vapid with DRS. He's a bit closer this time, but I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. But pulls that gap down to 3 tenths, and that's given him a really good position in for the next DRS zone. Who's about, I think that's where you need to be, about 4 tenths away. Gets a really good exit as well, does Vapid, and I think he could have a chance, but I think also Checo got a very good exit from that. But gap still 4 tenths. So Checo pits this for medium, so I don't know if that was strategy or if that was a nose change. But not ideal. I have been working on early, so I've been up at 4:30 nearly every morning, so that's why I'm a little bit tired. Yellow flag to sector 1, and JJ's retired. JJ's retired from the session, and that's got to be a safety car. It is a safety car, as, yeah, just looking at it, he just went too deep by the looks of it, did JJ. And that is really, really disappointing for the Williams. A full course safety car, so that allows JD to get back to return to the pack, as well as Chronic. Not what he needed, and now this is going to be the most interesting thing. Does anyone pit? Aiden does. I'm going to say he's going to go on the hard tyre. Finns will stay out. Jinx will box. Scott W is going to stay out, as well as Dan. I would reckon the hard runners would stay out. Angelismo does. Checo goes in. Vapid stays out. Kirby comes in as well. Fresh is going to stay out as well. Skull is a bit far away. We'll just see where he goes. And he is going to stay out. Sambo, not too sure what he'll do. I reckon Kent will probably box. As I think it is a cheap stop as well. I'm surprised that Skull didn't pit, because it is a cheap stop. You know, you're not losing anything, but you're not gaining. But yeah, Kent comes in, and I think, yeah, Chronix is just boxed, so I think, oh, and he's had a little spin. But not enough to crash out, so that'll keep it in for race, which is fantastic. And JD then coming across as well. As Kent will go on the hard tyre. We'll see if Kent can get out ahead of Chronic, and it's going to be really close actually. We'll see, and Chronic just nicks it, just in the nick of time. So Finns takes the lead again, and this is really shaped up again. Skull up into P10, the McLaren of Fresh is up into P7, which is really good to see. As Aiden and Jinx then go down into P8 and P9. But yeah, this is the first one, and we've still got about 26 laps to go. So we'll see what happens over the next, let's say the next 10 laps, shall we? But it will all be very interesting. So I reckon the safety car won't come in this lap. I reckon it will come in the next lap. I think everyone will catch up by then. and we're on lap 7 of the Singapore Grand Prix. Welcome to RFL F1. If you are new here, please ensure you give us a follow, and if you're interested in racing in the league, yeah, just drop a message down below and we will try and get you in whenever possible with one of the admins. We should get confirmation now the safety car will be in at the end of this lap, because as Kent and JD have caught up, and yep, there it is. Alright then, so Fins will take control. He'll be the de facto safety car for this, as you just got to make sure those tyres are all nice and warm. The hard tyres are very difficult to warm up. Aiden and Jinx then on new hard tyres. 5 lap hours of a difference. But we will see what everyone will start with up the restart, and when will Fins go? That is the question. So the safety car is now in. Now it's just waiting for Fins to bolt from the line. He's not quite doing it yet, as he goes a bit wide and still waiting, still waiting. Is he going? He's gone. So we're back underway then, and there's been a few positions already down in Freshers. Lost a few already. Down into P9, and Angelismo had a battle with Babcock. I can't quite get a good camera angle on here. Yeah, oh, and he's had a spin! Oh, and Babcock's down the line! And after all the hard work, he's down into last place, Babcock. His day's gone from bad to worse then. Chronic up into P11, really good start. Checo up into P9, Freshers spot back into P8, Kirby in P7, Kent and JD have the little battle. Tom Gorian still trying to hold on into the lead, and there's sector 2. And I think Chronic's had a moment, Skull's had a moment, and Chronic also in there, as well as Checo. Fresh down into P11. Oh, there's a spin. I think that's Sambo. Sambo's round. So all in one corner, there's all been instant. So I can't believe my eyes here. What is going on? Oh, it's so tight through the top back, and Aiden's 2.5 tenths away from Tom Gorian. You can see those hard tyres working in favour. Is he going to make the move, or he just didn't think about it? But not quite there. Dan is in P3. Fins is gone. He's over the second away, but there's still not quite enough into it. And Kirby, did Kirby pit for mediums? I'm quite surprised about that. As McLaren's in P10 and P11. Just see, where did Vapid go? Oh, he's in P13. Sorry, couldn't see that. Oh, and he's going to try and take one of the McLarens already. He's just done battle with Kent. And who's had a moment? Angelismo is going to box for a nose change. Probably after, excuse me, with Vapid Coup. So that's not what Angelismo wanted. Skull as well does pit. But looking down, or looking up, shall I say. There's not much overtaken at the top of the pack, but yeah. As you can see, that field spread forming to Dan and Aiden, all close behind Scott W for P2 here. Jinx as well in the Tom Gorian. It's just slowly holding on, but it's not good news for him, as Kirby on the fresher tyre is coming after him. You can see the gap between the top 7 compared to 8th downwards, so that gap has gone so much after a lap and a half of racing. Vapid is now fought his place up to P11, getting past Chronic. But DRS now has been enabled again for the second time running, and nothing much to say the least. So Aiden and Jinx got the starts they needed with the fresher, tyres they're on. So by the looks of it, a two-stopper could be forming for them if nothing changes in terms of safety cars, or a full course safety car could change it. But they could look like if they got fresh mediums, they could go, or well, they will have fresh mediums, I believe anyway. They will go onto that by the looks of it, stay a little bit longer than the rest who started on the hard tyres. But only time will tell anyway. And Vapid Q is gaining on Checo a lot, so his recovery drive is he's got to be on it now for Vapid. He's got to work his way up now after that incident with Angelissimo. Not what Vapid needed, but he's going to try his best to get back into it. He's got the DRS. Is he going to make a lunge? No, he doesn't think about it. Probably the wisest move to do. Kirby still on the back, which is really hurting him against Tom Goyen on the mediums. He needs to get past this. Chronic gets another time penalty for the track limits, exceeding track limits as Aiden is trying to make a move on Virtual Dan, but I don't think he's quite close enough as Dan gets the DRS from Scott W. Just see this on board with the cockpit here. As you can see how Dan really wants to get past Scott W for P2, as Finns is just going away. 2.2 seconds is the gap between him and Scott W. As Dan and Aiden having a little battle, and Dan has just taken P3 just like that from Dan. So bear in mind, 5 lap old difference, that is what it is. And now Aiden's on the back of Scott W. Jinx will be following suit if he could keep it up. But we've got a nice helicopter view here of some of the drivers who are still battling out very, very well for this. And Aiden then is gaining a lot on Scott W, but it's not quite close enough for the Aston Martin driver. Vapid Q stuck behind Checo. That is dampening Vapid's hopes of getting up the pack. JD, actually a really improved race for him, up into P8. Kirby as well doing really well in P7. Tom Gorian, who's fallen away a lot from the front runners, now nearly 4 seconds away. As JD now, was JD had a moment? Was he boxed, or? Yeah, he's just had a moment, so I've just cursed him with the commentator's curse. As he boxed now this lap in sector 3, yellow flag, and who's had a spin? Is that Vapid? Oh, Vapid's had a spin. Oh my goodness me, it's gone from bad. I say it's bad to worse. It's gone from worse to horrendous for Vapid. Just not his day at all. Checo having a battle with Fresh. This is for P8, but I think again just too far away. And Aiden is just trying to get ahead of Scott W. See the gap between the drivers. Fair dues to Scott W. and Dan for holding on much older tyres, but you can see Aiden gets a very good exit out of that hairpin. Is he going to think about it? Is he going to make a lunge? No, he does not. But he's too far away. And I wonder if Finns has had an instant as well, because he was about 2.2 seconds from Scott W, but that gap is now down to 8 tenths. So as Finns made a little error to allow Scott W back in DRS. But you can see how this is going to try and help Scott W against Aiden and Dan and Jinx having a battle, and I think Dan is ahead of Jinx. And you can see how well he's done that. Aiden's still behind Scott W, and he needs to get ahead of him as soon as possible, really. 4 times is a gap, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get ahead, as Scott W still got the DRS. And Dan and Jinx has managed to get ahead into P4 against Dan. So that DRS has helped out quite a bit. He's used a lot of his DRS though, and that's not going to help him for the next few laps, but we'll see what happens. Checo still behind Fresh then. Vapid is just in a world of his own in P11, so he does really need a safety car to come out to help him, because that's not what he needed. Okay, and looking at Kirby, who's stuck behind Tom Gorian. It's just ruining his tyres, Kirby's, if he's stuck behind Tom, where Tom will go longer. Yeah, he'll probably go longer. So he needs to get a move done as soon as possible, really, in order to climb up to probably the front runners, I'd reckon. We're going on board with Scott W. You just see Finn's just in that picture. Aiden just following behind very, very closely, trying to force a mistake on Scott W. And can Aiden think about going for a move then? And he's just not quite close enough just to get the move done. Dan and Jinx, sorry, still banned now for P4, but again, nothing there. Checker and Fresh for P8, and it's still again just a bit too far away. Just looking up at bottom, so Sambo, I think he had an instant, and Skull also, I remember, did have a little error. So yeah, it's just not working out for them today. JD as well. Yeah, it just didn't work out for him as well. Angelismo as well. Okay, and Jinx now is that gap is forming away, but he's trying to gain it back, and that's not good news for him. If Dan sees that he was out of DRS then. Aiden's still trying to make a move, and he's still not quite close enough. This needs to be within 3 times, I reckon. And yellow flags, and Chronic's retired. Chronic's retired from the session. And is that another safety car? It is another safety car, and we'll see. Oh, and I think he's just gone too late. He went too late on the brakes, and he's just crushed it by the tunnel area, and that has just helped Vapid a lot. And now on the medium team goes, and that is probably, I reckon people who started on it will go onto the medium. Oh, it's a bit close to too close to call, really. But we will see anyway what happens. As we go through the safety car then. I'm just going to nip for a little break, so I will be with you as soon as possible. Okay, and I am back. As, we are under safety car vent, and Aiden and Jinx stayed out with Fins all the way down to Vapid. Have all pitted full medium, so it's not looking good for Aiden and Jinx. However, I'm just wondering, so how many laps are to go? 13. So there's 15 laps to go. They could pit around lap 21, I reckon. Lap 21, 22. Yeah, so we're going to have to make it quick. So we're going to need a good start, and we're going to have to try and hold on to P1. Try and pit for fresh mediums, and then it would be game on then. But we will wait and see. And Skull has retired from the session. If this happened, where has he done that? That is not what he needed. So I'd expect the safety car's not coming in yet, but thought it would have. But I was going to do another lap. We'll see with this puts Aiden and Jinx then in this position what they can do. One more lap and then I believe a safety car will be in. So second safety car of the race, and it comes in again at the end of this lap. As Aiden will take control of the pack. And it's his time to see when he wants to go. As safety car is in. And JD's left the session again, and Aiden's gone for it this time. Much earlier than Jinx, and Finns is already on the back of Jinx. Oh no, they've had a spin! And they've had a spin, and well, Jinx has, Finns has managed to keep it on the track, and that is not good for Jinx. Scott W up into P3, Dan into P4. Not looking good, yeah, that's not looking good for any of it. Well, it's going to be definitely an investigation to see what happened there, as that is definitely dampened Jinx then for sure. So Aiden now needs to get a move on. If he is in order to win this race, he needs to get a move on as quickly as possible. Even if it was a virtual safety car, it would still help him either way. But that is not good. Just looking a few battles down at the back of the pack, but yeah, there's nothing really. So we've got Sambo trying to make a move on JD. I need to invite JD back. Yellow flags in sector 3. Who's at a moment? Who's at a moment? In sector 3, I don't know. Oh, was it Vapid Q? Vapid Q had another moment in sector 3. And, you know, that's, you would say the cherry on top in a good way, but that's the cherry on top of Vapid, who's just not had it with today. But he gets P12 back, and Skull is now, yeah, he's left the session, so he's retired, and I'm trying to find, where is JD? And we'll get him into there. Alright, and we're back now as Finn's 6 tenths away from Aiden. It's a really important moment now for these two drivers who want to win this race so much. JD's now back in the session, which is great. Nothing much, but just say a huge shout out to Fresh, who's had moments, but he's now up into P6, so a good chunk of points for McLaren. AlphaTauris have done good as well. Oh wow, Jinx was doing really well. Very unfortunate with the incident, but P7 and P8 looking very good for AlphaTauri as well. DRS is now enabled again for the third time this session, as Jinx gets a time penalty for track limits. Not what he needed, and Finn's has gone really wide there, and that is not very good to cut the corner, and I would see if Finn's does get ahead of Aiden. That looked like he was gaining an advantage through it, but I think he will get away with it for now. Remains in P2, so this is now the moment to see if what Aiden can do with those hard tyres. But they could go to the end, but it'll be extremely difficult to manage in the last few laps. But you can see the field spread now all forming. There's not much battles apart from the top, from P1 to P4. And I wouldn't be surprised if many of the drivers would be in contention as well. But yeah, there's not much going on at the moment. There's a train of cars now forming behind Aiden. Aiden is very vulnerable. 10 lap old tyres difference that are going to affect him so much. And I don't know if I just saw it. Yeah, Scott W has gone ahead of Finn's. I've just realised about that actually. As that is, it came as a surprise. As Rapid takes the fastest lap of the race down in P10, and now this is going to be really interesting for Scott W if he can get ahead of Aiden. And he's gaining, he's thinking about it, he's going to go for the move round it down the inside, but he goes Aiden goes a little bit wide, but he'll allow that to give enough space for Scott W as Aiden survives for another day then. And that was critical for Aiden to stay ahead, but I don't think he necessarily went wide to try and gain an advantage, but you know, just for more of a respect to give enough space. And you can just see how close they are. They're just so close together, and Scott W with another chance then in the DRS. Is he going to go for the move? Down the inside he goes again against Aiden. Oh, and he hit the wall, and they've had a moment, both of them are at a moment, and Aiden's front wing has gone off completely. Will it be a safety car as Davey is on the track? But I don't think it is. And that is horrible for the Aston Martin, who's going to try and slow down now. Yeah, and he does. Fair dues to Aiden to let the drivers through with a broken front wing. But would there have been a safety car? I thought there would have been, but yeah, Scott W takes the lead, and well, we'll see under stewards then what possibly the stewards think about it. So that's Aiden's win gone out of the window. That's his race done. So back on the mediums for him, and he really, well, he's gonna have to pray for like a safety car now, really, if he's gonna get back into this. Yeah, it's not looking ideal. Not ideal. But you can see Dan and Scott W having a little battle, and as Scott W maybe got damaged from that instant, as Dan is now taking the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. Tom Gorian as well in contention for this win, and you can see how close it is between the top three. As maybe his Finn's had a little moment somewhere. Has he got damaged? Doesn't look like it, but Fresh is gaining on him as well. It's 2 seconds is only the gap. But yeah, Dan's we've had a few different leaders now through this race, and yeah, so poor Aiden now, who was down into P13 after that nose change. Yes, now it's lap 24, as we've got about 8 laps to go. You can see how much this field is spread, and Jenks is trying to make a move on Fresh just before the corner as well, for the DRSs. Now Jenks is trying to go around the outside. He'll take the inside line, and Fresh is going to try and fight it out, but he's forced wide. Takes the inside line. Is he going to keep it? Is he going to keep it? Oh, and it gets so close, but Jenks has to back out, and Fresh keeps P5. But that's allowed Checo now. 4 P. Oh, and they nearly have a moment there as Checo takes advantage of Jinx's attack, and yeah, it's hit back at Jinx. Then one position trying to get is gone down out of the window, and down the position he goes. Angelismo back in contention as well for a good chunk of points. Vapid trying to make a move on him. Aiden probably with the easiest move on of his career. Try just getting ahead of Kent, but I don't think Kent would have fought that as such. Just trying to get in the points as Kent. But Dan is just pulling away from Scott W, and Tom Gorian is going to be trying to close that gap down to Scott W, who's out of DRS contention. And yeah, it's not looking good for Scott W. This is the battle for P2. As we go under, and you can see how much Tom Gorian's gaining, and he's going to go around the outside there, and as he kept it on the track, he has, and he's got that very nicely done, and he's kept P2, and now can he battle for Dan for the win? Aiden as well gets a fastest lap, but he needs to be in the top 10 in order for him to have a chance to get that point. He's 16 seconds away from Kirby, who's about 7 laps old, 7 laps younger than Kirby's. We'll wait and see what happens. Well, you can see a bit of that. You can see a bit of battles forming now. Fresh has got a train coming. The Alpha Towers haven't a battle together, so we need to stop. We need to stop this battling, really, and they need to get ahead of McLaren. They can't trip each other over. And bear in mind, these are both on penalties, so if it stays like this and Angelismo then gets another penalty, and this is what could help Fresh, is with penalties, could keep P5 if he could just keep the pace up. And Vapid's joining the frame as well. Kirby I would not expect to be too soon as well. Oh, you can see Fresh goes really wide there near the end, but and the yellow flag is in sector 3, and I think Angelismo's had a moment. Yeah, he had, and he's broken his front wing, and it's a safety car again. Oh, so well. This is going to be very interesting as we're on 6 laps, and Kent gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, and that's not what he needed. This is really, and Aiden's box for the softs, which is no nonsense really. That is probably not, you know, a wise move from him. And you can see that Scott W has stayed out, and this is going to be a very interesting debate. Then Checo stays out, Dan comes in for softs, Tom Gorian as well, Fins as well, So Fresh softs, Jake's in. As you can see, most of the people pitting. And I think if I was Aiden, I would pit again, get another fresh set of softs. Fins has left the session, luckily for him, under the safety car. So we'll get him back into the game. I've see what Aiden does. He stays out then. Kent on the softs. JD, who is disconnected. I don't know if he's come back. He did come back actually, but I think he must have disconnected again. So three drivers on the mediums, the rest on softs, but JD by the looks of it could pit again. We'll just see where this takes us. And it's looking terrifying actually for F1 Checo and Scott W. This might be a bit of a mistake from Scott W. Bear in mind, I think we will only have... We'll probably get back going at the end of lap 28, start of lap 29. So I think we've got Kent and Sam both boxed. Still got a few waiting to come to catch up to the safety car. Alright, and I think this may be the last safety car to come out. I don't know if we're going to get... Yeah, I don't think we're going to get going up the end of lap 28, so by the looks of it, it's going to be probably 2 racing laps altogether. Yeah, I think Kent and Sambo are going to probably catch up, not this lap, but the next lap. And yeah, it's just yes, it's going to look really really unique, really. We'll just see where this takes us. So, yeah. So yeah, another lap under the safety car. So this is it's really helping Scott then and Checo, as the more laps I go, the more it's gonna wear off the soft runners. But this is gonna be so close, and this looking dangerous as well. I'm not gonna lie. By the looks of it, it's going to look really, really dangerous. Alright, as we just wait on Kent Fenner, and the safety car is going to be in at the end of this lap. So, a few opportunities for drivers to make some positions, and we're going to see where this puts Scott W and Checo, as we're going to be vulnerable with a load of cars on the softs to get ahead of them, but obviously we'll just have to wait and see. So just wait for the right time for Scott, and Kent gets a 3-second penalty. Not what you need, pal. As we go underway, Ben, so 2 more laps to go. And you can see Dan right on the back of Checo. Is he going to think about a movement? We can see right behind Rapid and Angelismo have a battle. Or was that Aiden? Pardon me. Aiden trying to go round the outside. Oh, nearly snaps the car then. Sambo getting up into P12 against JD, as Kent is boxed again, so that's his race completely out the window. Tom Gorian trying to get in the fight. Dan as well. Oh, it's so close between the two. Oh my goodness me. And Scott W's then still hanging on to this battle, as you can see Checo and Dan still banning out, as Dan doing a switchback. Gonna get that inside line. Has he got the move done? Yes, he has. As Tom Gorian trying to get in there as well. And has he got the move? Oh, and he gets so close, and I think Checo's had a moment. Checo's had a spin. And I can't quite see him. But oh, poor Checo again. Just another incident with AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri has just not had it with the luck. As Thrash is just losing positions again, and it's just again. Oh, and Angelissimo's round, and a little bit of contact made from the McLaren, but he's still in. He's still racing, and yeah, it's not looking good. And Dan now. Oh, look how close Dan is to Scott W, and Scott W is in real trouble. We're on the last lap, and I think Dan's got the move. I think Dan's got the inside. Is he going to take the lead? Oh, it's so close. And I think he has. He's got the move. He's winning the Grand Prix. Yellow flags in, and I think who's at the moment? Is that Checo again? So I think Ken's going to go for a fastest lap if he can possibly. And you can see just how much is going on behind. And Vince down the inside of Tom is going to force him wide. Aiden up into P5 as we're seeing this, and there's a good recovery drive from Aiden. But I don't think it's going to be enough. And yellow flags again. I think that's Checo again. And it's just not been a stay really, Checo. But looking ahead, Dan pulling away really nicely then. Finn's still trying to get on to Scott W. Or when he hits the back of Scott W's car. But you can see Dan now close to getting this, Dan close to getting this win. He's got a purple middle sector. Scott W holding on to P2, Finn's in P3. Tom in P4 and Aiden P5. And Rapid Q, I must say, a very well recovered drive to get back into P6 for him. But anyway, Dan coming across the line in Singapore, and he takes the win in Singapore. Tom Gorian gets a time penalty at the very last corner, and that puts him P6 to Aiden. Aiden goes into P4. Scott W into P2, Finn's P3. Rapid Q P5, Tom Gorian finishes at P6 after that penalty. Kirby in P7, Thrash in P8, Angelissimo P9, Norton Jinx has probably spun it at P10, JD P11 with Sambo P12, Checo will be coming across the line next for P14, Kent then in P15, P14, pardon me. Yes, that's right, he had the time penalty, so he had to save it, so that's why I remember now. But yeah, good, yeah, some good battles out there. So I'm just Rapid Q driver of the day to the F1 game. But yeah, it was just yeah, it was a lot of drama, a lot of incidents that happened. So Dan goes and Alright then, so classification as Dan wins, Scott W in P2 and Finn's in P3. Yeah, I reckon we could try and do some interviews, see if they're all up for it. As yeah, very intriguing race. So yeah, I'll go through order. Aiden Van recovering really well. He gets the fastest lap. To take P4 Vapid in P5 Tongorian, P6 taking a penalty right at the very last corner. Kirby in P7, Fresh will take P8, Angelissimo in P9, and Jinx will finish for points in P10. And then JD, Sambo, Checo, Kent, Skull, Chronic, JJ just outside the top 10 then. So yeah, good evening lads. Just bear in mind, just put your audio on. I think it should be activated.
Certainly hold it, don't worry.
Yes, soundo. Alright then, okay, so yes, everyone in? Everyone got the audios on?
Yes.
Or yeah. Is everyone in?
Yep.
Scott, Finn's, Dan? Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so we'll start with Finn's then. Yeah, P3 for Finn's, and you had a you had an excellent sprint race
I
in
love the
that
win.
5-lapper. Just dominated it. Like what it reminded me of was Verstappen in Austria 2021. You came into the race and you did have a slight moment, didn't you? But you got P3. How do you feel?
Yeah, I felt like the win got away, but yeah, I was closing in on Aiden and had a solid lead on Scott by about 3 seconds for a while, and then my wheel started playing up, and that's why Scott caught up to me. And so my accelerator was staying on, and then sometimes my brake was staying on about 5%, even when I wasn't pressing it. So I had no straight line speed, and then sometimes I'd be going deep into corners. And yeah, eventually yeah, I had to, that's why I left the session in the safety car. But for a while, I just had no idea what to do because my wheel was messing itself up. So luckily, the late safety car saved me and got up to P3
Yeah,
again.
that's a little bit gutting for your wheel to disconnect, but what I'll go back to what I said about your sprint was absolutely phenomenal. But did you expect to be 13, 14 seconds from the rest of the grid?
Like, I wanted to win the sprint since I knew it was wet. I knew I have the wet weather pace, but I was hoping maybe 5 seconds, not 18.
Because yeah, that was
So,
absolutely fantastic from you. Um, so going looking like it's obviously still early days. Do you still like? I completely forgot there's a reserve championships, but are you looking to win the reserve championship?
well, I'm looking to take a full-time seat,
Oh,
get some proper points.
that'd be fantastic to you for you to have. But once again, Finn's, congratulations on P3. As we go to Scott
Thank you
W
very
next.
much.
So Scott then,
Beautiful.
bit of a bold move to go to stick on the mediums at the end of the race. What made you want to not gamble on the softs then, or let's just say you gambled on the mediums and not go to the softs?
Well, I gambled to not pit at the end because I wanted to have I thought there would be more cars in between me and Dan. I I know Finns was having this issue, and I was saying during the safety car I was trying to work with him throughout the race because you know the more help I can get, the more people I can get on my side, then to help to not be so aggressive with each other. Just communication's key.
Yeah.
As just I told Finns that he should stay out. I was trying to get Finns to stay out. I was trying my best. I was a bit dodgy, but trying to get him to stay out. But he was having issues, so I think, or something like that. But he pitted in anyway. It was just me and F1 Checo, and I know F1 Checo is a very defensive driver. I know he'll be really pushing to get the podium, but I don't know what exactly happened with him, but ultimately I couldn't. I didn't have the tires to fight it. I thought. But hey, I was probably going to finish third place
Yeah,
behind
how
Tom if that didn't happen. So ultimately, I think it did work out in the end. Obviously, during that race, it was very difficult. I was trying to work, obviously, I'm being honest, I was trying to work with Finns throughout the whole race, trying to get, because I'm telling him stuff to be aggressive. I'm telling him to be aggressive, and then he just crashes into someone. I'm just like, no, 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 no. We don't want Crash Gate 2.2 happening. And it was then at that point, because he then started to have his issues with the pedals, and I knew I'd put myself in a position where I was right behind Aiden, who was on the hard tires, and this is again where things don't go right, because I knew I could get up his inside and take the place because I had much better tires and I had to be bold with it. And I was into turn five, and so I get us inside. It gets a little bit tight, but he just drives off the track to stay ahead. So then I had to try it again, and it was a completely fine move to go for, but there was contact. I don't know exactly how that happened, but I think he should just be
yeah,
a bit more aware next time so that doesn't happen.
yes,
Um, it's up to him to. I put my car in a position where it was under control and at the right speed at all times. I knew I was entitled to go for the move. But a bit unfortunate because if he didn't crash into me, then that would again be another car in between, and then DRS trains were playing a factor in all this. It was a very stupid, confusing, and frustrating race, but P2 in the end. Unless I get petty stewards requirements, then that might
yes,
be an issue. But if the results stay the way they are, I'm perfectly fine with it. But sure, we'll just go next week and see if we can do better.
yes.
So have fun.
Yes, and congratulations for P2 for you there, Scott, as we go to the winner then of Singapore, which is Dan. And Dan, must say, a very, very important win for you then, not just in that race, but also in the Drivers' Championship. So how does that feel for you, just to close that gap, even though it's just a 3 point difference?
Um, well, yeah, it's a big win because to be honest, I thought this was just going to be damage limitations. Probably this Miami, these type of street tracks, I just can't do them. I think this race, I think I got very lucky in qualifying. I don't know what happened. I think people must have bottled their laps at the end, or I somehow just pulled a godsend of a lap out of nowhere. Uh, the rain, I was just trying to hang on to whatever was happening in front of me. And I managed to get in a few positions. The race, um, there was just collisions all around me, and then it was, um, yeah, it was a stressful race near the end because it was do I pit in for softs or mediums, and my thinking was if I pit in for softs, I think people will follow me. Um, it could have heavily backfired, but in the end it worked out. Um, Checo, yeah, um, definitely, definitely was heavily defending. I can say that. He's got a very low track setup on, so it was a case of me going down the inside, I was just far enough alongside, and I realised that I was going to get in the position. So he just backed out. I don't know what happened then behind me. I think maybe him and Tom, I guess, happened.
Yeah,
I have
bit
no
of an
idea.
instant. Yeah, last corner. I think Tom got his final warning and got the penalty right at the very last corner for
All right.
track limits. So yeah, he was a bit unfortunate there. But with our final safety car coming out, then were you in that bit of hesitation as well as Scott, where you could have stayed out of the mediums, or were you fully insisting just play it safe, go on for soft tyres to the end?
Oh, 100% hesitation, because at the end of the day, whatever that safety car was probably the worst safety car for someone in my position to have, because if I stay out, then everyone else would be like, oh, I'm just gonna pit in. Well, then if I pit and then everyone else stays out, I can't get past that many cars in Singapore. Um, so again, I probably I've like this race has been extremely lucky for me. It was a lucky decision. Um, I mean, um, people having technical issues as well. So probably a very undeserved win, but I'm gonna take it. So yeah.
Yes, but you stayed in the race, you kept your car on the track, and that was pretty much the main thing you did, and you finished the race. So I must say congratulations to you, Dan, and that is all we have for tonight. So thank you for tuning in into RFL. That was Singapore, a very, very chaotic race, I must say. So yeah, once again, thank you very much, and we will see you next Saturday, and goodbye.